Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 361. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host, Mike. How we doing, Mike?
Hey, welcome to the only podcast where we'll shit talk Tom King. That's going to be the tagline. We'll get so many viewers. Hey, everybody. Nothing against Tom King. Chris and I just were chatting before the podcast.
Seems like a lovely person. He wrote a good vision story. I'll give him that.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it a little bit more. We do have a very special guest. Greg Moquin is on the show today to talk about a Kickstarter project. Scales issue 1 involves dragons. 2 weeks in a row with dragons, Chris.
Yes.
But yeah,
it involves dragons.
We hope. We should double check. Some sort of lizard folk.
I was say it says scales, so I just assumed, and I remember I was looking.
I think we talked about this yesterday, but yeah,
we did. I think it's just a dude with scales. But anyways, let's assume it's dragons. We can talk about dragons later. Don't worry. We will talk about dragons in a minute.
We'll talk about dragons. But yeah, jokes aside, Tom King, not really the writer for us. I mean, I have read stuff that I've enjoyed from him, and like you said, it is in a completed series. Like, has to be in a book. But I do believe what you said earlier, that he writes too much. Like, I was enjoying his Supergirl run because, everybody was talking about it is the best, blah, blah, blah. And I got a few issues into it. And while it was good, there was way too much writing for a Supergirl book for me personally.
Yeah, I think he overwrites. I think he writes like a novelist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a novelist that makes comics.
He writes like a CIA analyst or whatever he used to be in his
So he can't be trusted.
Yeah. And at the end of the episode, Chris is going to disappear somewhere into the room. Somebody's going to drop from the ceiling and pull him away, and we'll never see him again.
I was surprised that hasn't happened already, Mike.
That's why everybody actually likes Tom King, because he used to work for the CIA, and if you don't say that you like him, those people aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
There used to be other podcasts like us. They're not around.
Have you seen what the IRS does to people?
They get gone.
No, I'll talk about more later, but I tried one of his books, and everybody loves him so much, man. And I just want to know, it's at the end of the day, it's one of those things, it's just, he's not for me, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't. I even tried that book, Sheriff of Babylon, that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And that seemed like something that'd be up my alley, like modern day war story.
Yeah.
Set in Iraq, based on what he did over there and everything. I'm like, okay, there's something interesting here, and it's just, I don't know, it's just not for me, man.
I'll tell you what is for you, Chris. Get you on something that you could get behind is Star Wars Unlimited, Spark of Rebellion, that new card game. So I started playing that this weekend. With Katie, and so I haven't bought any random booster packs because this is the new TCG player card game, trading card game. Everybody, the Star Wars brand. It is I'd say it's almost like the Magic system, but simpler.
Okay.
In the fact that you draw cards. I'm not going to get too much into the mechanics and everything, but just for Chris's explanation here, you draw cards, and all the cards in your hand are playable. But you can choose to make those cards your energy to spend the cards. So say you have really high cost cards in your hand. You're oh, I don't want to play those this turn or next turn. So I'm going to put them down and use them as energy to play my cards. And I really like the mechanic. It's really cool. You get a hero like Luke and Vader in the two zones. And then you have a base, and it gets more complicated if you get into the deck building, the way you spend resources to play cards. But the two pre-built decks are a lot of fun to play against each other, Luke and Vader. And it almost reminds me of Battlefront, because you reach a point towards the end game where both of you have an opportunity to flip your hero cards. So you can put Luke on the battlefield or Vader on the battlefield. And they just do so much damage. They're extremely tanky. Vader does a ton of damage, and Luke has more health but does damage, but also has a way to generate shields for himself. So it's they really do play how they would fight. And then last night we had this interaction where I had Vader out, and he was about to die, and Katie's R2D2 did like 1 damage to my Vader and it killed him. And it was just like a really funny interaction where it's like, you know, if Vader is fighting R2D2, like he just gets out the little like taser that he has and like kills Vader. I was like, how would this interaction even work in the movies? But like, no, it's a lot of fun. I think if you're a Star Wars fan, and I know you used to play Magic, but like you can still buy the pre-made decks and have a good time with this and not like do any of the deck building parts of it.
I'm at a point in my TCG life where like if it's digital, I'll do it. So like Pokemon's got a new digital app coming out for it.
Oh,
where you're supposed to actually be able to like purchase and like actually build in it.
Oh, I'd be interested in that too, because Magic has a pretty cool system online now.
And this one's being developed very heavily for phones.
Oh,
you know, they're going for the Marvel Snap, what's the World of Warcraft one? Hearthstone.
Hearthstone, yeah. And you can play Magic Arena on your phone now too. It works pretty good.
Oh, can you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to download when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know like some of the more niche ones, like Dragon Ball, trading card game, and I think One Piece has one coming out. Although I'm not doing One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece is pretty popular right now.
So I mostly play them that way, like actually going to a store and interacting with other human beings. That sounds like hell.
I just love I do love digital games of playing online against people, but the paper feel to me of like sitting there, like, playing a game, like I don't know, it's just I don't think anything will beat that.
My close buddy, he still has people get together for Magic Commander.
Yep, that's what I play.
And
casual setting,
he literally built a deck. I just told him, he's like, if you were going to play a deck, what would it be? It would be one of these 3, because this is what I used to play when I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, and he built one of them for me. So now whenever like he's like, we're down a guy, do you want to come over? I just have one there that he made for me. Like,
that's a good way to trick your friends. That's why I got Katie's brother into it, and basically he used to play Magic, and he's a huge Fallout fan. So I was kind of like, well, you know, they released these Fallout decks for Magic, blah blah blah, and I was like, I don't know much about Magic though, like, or about Fallout. Like, which deck would you prefer? And he's like, oh, I would totally buy this one. So I bought him that one for his birthday.
Nice.
It's like, gotcha. That's how.
No, I know. You tell me about the animal ones. There's a squirrel one coming.
Yeah,
I fully expect I'm getting one of those for like Christmas or a birthday or something.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, Anyways, it's a fun time to be adults like us playing games. There's a lot of fun games out there.
Yes,
but we'll get back to the stuff we also do is read comics and watch TV. So we'll get into TV news. Amazon announced that the Image comic 8 Billion Genies is coming to Prime Video. Hell yeah, we're huge fans of that series.
Yeah.
The comic will be adapted as a series and revealed that Seth Rogen and his company Point Grey Pictures are attached to the produce, while Jeff Snyder and Rodney Rothman, the co-directors for Spider-Man Into the Universe, are adapting the screenplay. What? That's insane.
Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a huge amount of talent. And dude, Seth Rogen has been like just grabbing all these comic properties to do. Good for him.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what he likes, man.
Yeah, he likes them, and he actually wants to do them right. And I mean, he's had hit and misses just like anyone else, but like I think he's had more hits than misses. 8 Billion Genies will be an interesting one to do as a series. I mean,
yeah, it's got to be animated, right?
I wonder. I really do wonder. Having the 2 co-directors for Spider-Verse attached make me think pretty heavily it's going to be animated.
True.
But when this was announced, I immediately was starting to think of like, how would this work in live action? Like, it'll be better animated, but the idea of adapting something this stylized into live action just really started to like turn the gears in my head all week.
Yeah,
like how interesting.
How would you have the genies and well, I guess, you know, something like, could it be like something like Happy? I mean, Happy worked in live action, right?
Yeah, but I mean, remembering like the first issue, things are somewhat normal, and like even in the second and third, like you're in the bar a lot, so you can do it on the cheap. But you also have to go outside in a lot of the scenes, and a lot of crazy shit's happening, man. Yeah. So either a lot of CG or really expensive practical effects. I don't know, but
you start building robot.
Yeah, it'll be crazy, man.
Yeah, that would be really cool though. I'm excited to see how it works out.
I'll be excited for this one though. A good combination: Seth Rogen, who's doing cool things, and Prime Video, who's been doing really good with their adaptations. So
yeah, I'm excited for Fallout. Comes out in a couple weeks, I think.
Dude, this month's loaded. I still haven't seen Dune 2.
Me either. So
when does Planet of the Apes come out? I was just thinking about
shit,
that.
that's soon. Yeah, it's got to be. Is it April?
I don't even know which Planet of the Apes it is anymore.
What the hell? Dawn of the start of the
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
And that comes out. Oh, it's May, not March. Okay, so I got time on that one.
We get a break.
But I think X-Men comes out here soon.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Some other show comes out.
Yep.
That I'm forget. Like, there's so much shit, man. It's insane.
We'll talk about TV shows right now. I watched the latest episode of Invincible because that's back this week.
Oh, that came back.
Yeah, and I waited to say because I wanted to see your reveal just now. But yeah, so I don't even know what episode number it was, but Invincible's back. Everybody, part 2 of season 2. You know, Mark's helping rebuild the planet he was just on. That his dad was like, was part of that colony, and they basically send Invincible away with his brother because of the aging of the parents. That planet where they age within like, I don't know, a couple weeks and they die. But he basically brings his brother back to Earth and lets his mom take care of him and help out. And Cecil like tries to get involved, and they're like, dude, like fuck off, like this isn't your problem. And then there's like the Guardians of the Globe are like fighting a threat, but also we get this crazy scene where like Rexplode, Multicate, and a few of the other heroes are like left back in the like the Guardian of the Globe facility by themselves, and the Serpent Clan or Serpent whatever shows up, and there's a huge fight there, and it's super bloody. Like Multicate gets like ripped apart, Rex gets like fucking his arm like chewed off and shit, so they get completely like obliterated by them. And it's a crazy fight scene that Rex like ends up like winning, but his arm gets like chewed off. It was a crazy episode. There's a lot of cool interactions happening. Like Cecil gets confronted by the guy that works for him that's an android now. So that's crazy because he has the reveal that like he already died and they like re-put his memories into like an android. So and then we get the Invincible team. There's a lot happening in the episode, but it ends on when they're fighting like the Starro aliens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot happening. I'm glad it's back. It's a great episode. The voice acting is amazing because we get Seth Rogen and the Optimus Prime actor, the old Vulturite guy that like interacting. So it's like Seth Rogen, and then he's like, and we are the Vulturites. And I'm like, this is such a weird interaction. These two speaking to each other. Like you have like the most epic voice actor, that you have fucking Seth Rogen, a stoner, like talking to each other in a scene is just so amazing to me. It's great. I'm so glad that it's back and that we didn't have to wait till the end of the year.
Yeah. So it looks like it's episode 5.
Okay.
And X-Men 97 is Wednesday. So
wow. All right. Yeah. Buckle up, everybody. We got a lot of shit to watch.
So now my week consists of Wednesday X-Men, Thursday Delicious in Dungeon, and Friday. Yeah, Friday is no, Thursday's also Invincible because it was the 14th that came out. So
oh yep. Yeah, Thursdays.
Yeah, so Thursdays. So
wonderful.
Find time for 3 shows now.
Yep, we gotta watch them all.
Still haven't finished Last Airbender.
Oh shit, yeah, that too. Or at least you can like slowly enjoy that one if you want.
Yeah, that's been nice actually. I've watched like one episode a week of that, and then it's really good.
You watched Delicious in Dungeon episode 11?
I did. Guessing you didn't.
No, I didn't. I did not get to watch it.
It's a good episode, but it's definitely a shift in the tone of the series because the whole episode is them fighting the Red Dragon. Like that's the episode.
Okay.
We get some backstory, but like quick flashbacks and everything. A little bit more into how healing magic works because like the final blow on the dragon the one guy like jumps in, stabs him, and he gets his leg bitten off.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the mage of the group is able to heal it by just like putting it together and being like whoop-de-doop-de-doo. And
that's awesome.
And then they end up gutting the dragon to try to find the sister that they were looking for. And they find her. But the big cliffhanger is they find her inside her in the intestines already like
digested.
And all they find is like her skeleton. So I mean I have a feeling, I haven't read this far in the series, so this is all new to me.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that like she's still going to be resurrected somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna get we're definitely gonna get like a couple episodes of like how resurrection works in this world, because
especially when you only have the bones of somebody.
Yep. But it's a fun it's a good episode, but it's all action. It's all them fighting this dragon, and like there is like one funny moment that fits within the tenor of the show where like the dwarf character pulls out a mithril kitchen knife.
Oh, that's funny.
And like mithril can stab through dragon scale.
That's amazing.
So they have to use the kitchen knife to like on them. So but for the most part it's them setting up traps, trying to fight this dragon. It goes wrong. They have to do it a different way, blah blah blah.
And I will say, like, just like D&D, I feel like resurrection has always been a thing of D&D. It's always just up to like how well the DM can explain the situation of like or justify it. So I almost wonder if like that's how, and it almost feels like that's how it feels in this show too, is like they've definitely talked about it and said that it happens, but now we're just waiting for their explanation of like, how do they spin it.
I mean, resurrection's almost like monetized in this world, because we got that one episode where they went to the place,
which is interesting.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, Chris. I was at Barnes & Noble this weekend. There's like Oh, nice. There's like 42 volumes of the manga.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, let me see what Delicious and Dungeon is there. They had volumes 1 and 2, and then it said 42. And I was like, oh, is that like, a couple of them combined? And I was like, no, this is literally volume 42 of the manga. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the company that makes them does them in a little bit of a bigger size.
Yeah.
So they, of course, cost a little bit more.
Yep.
Which is a little frustrating for me when I'm just like,
I
really like the series, but why does each book have to be more expensive?
And for me, that I might just stick with the show now, because I'm like, I don't want to invest in 42 volumes of this. It's like, that's a lot. Maybe they'll come out with like a collected edition. That would be great.
When I was at Barnes & Noble's, Mike, I found, so there's this manga that I was interested in. It sounded cool. It's called Cells at Work. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't.
So think Osmosis Jones, but a manga.
Oh, okay. That's
like all the characters are a piece of the body.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
that's
do a
cool.
job, and
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is fun. And then it was an omnibus, so it was like the 3-in-1s basically. I was like, oh, I'll pick this up, because like those things are. That's, if you can wait or like get into older manga, that's what to do, man. Like those 3-in-1s are like anywhere from $17 to $20 for 3 volumes.
Yeah, that's the greatest way to do it.
Yeah. And then they had the Dune coloring book, so I bought a Dune coloring book.
Of course you did. Nice. All right, we'll jump into more of the news here for movies, but I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, I found out on the Hoopla app, the library app, everybody, because I'm really cool like that. Use the library app. My local library, every volume of manga for Berserk is on there. So, which is a lot of volumes of manga, which I never wanted to purchase. So I'm like super excited to read all of them now. There's a lot of manga in my library app and comic books too. So I'm like super pumped to like dive back in and see what they got.
Yeah, I found out that, so libraries for a minute there were going into getting comics and stuff, and now they've shifted to getting a lot of manga, because that's become popular.
Which is fine, because like if I don't want to spend the money on it and I can read it all, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Movie news: Hollywood Reporter confirmed that DC Studios is adding Teen Titans to their movie slate. That Anna Nogueira, who wrote the Supergirl script, is writing the script for it. All right. I mean, haven't seen a shot of Supergirl yet, but I guess we're going into Teen Titans.
Obviously, they're happy with their script.
For sure. I could see that they are. I would say this is probably good news. Let's hope that maybe. I mean, I just hope that they write the script with knowing that a large portion of your fans of Teen Titans have only ever watched the cartoon, and that's what they need to realize.
And realizing that Teen Titans Go is the best version.
Yeah, that Teen Titans Go is that cartoon. There has to be a medium in between, like Go and what we saw growing up, Chris.
Well, it makes when I first saw this, I was like, "Oh, it seems a little soon to do Teen Titans."
Yeah,
because you haven't even introduced Robin,
right?
But then I was reading back, like, well, Brave and the Bold, was that going to be Dick? No, it's going to be Damien. It's like, oh, okay, so we're further along the timeline in terms of where all the characters are.
Yeah, sure.
I thought,
yep.
So at some point they can they don't necessarily explain it in the Teen Titans movie, but they can just go back down the line and be like, oh, Nightwing, yeah, he was a Robin, blah, 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 and do it that way. Yeah, people like Teen Titans. I mean, obviously I'm in the minority on that one, but it's interesting. And I think Teen Titans has been one of those IPs inside of DC, outside of like the obvious, the Trinity, that's actually like made it through to the mainstream. Like you said, we've had cartoons, multiple. Like I know people that aren't comics people that know Teen Titans because of that cartoon.
The live action show seemed to be pretty popular.
Yeah, live action show people liked. Like it's not so niche that like people aren't going to be interested or excited about it. So it makes sense to do it. It'll just be interesting to see how they do it, and hopefully they put a little bit more money into their CG budget so that Garth can transform more than two things.
Yeah, we need that. We need Garth to transform into a few animals, maybe a handful.
4 or 5. Just give me 4 or 5.
4 or 5, please. Yeah, agreed. But I'm curious. I mean, I like that they're branching out. We're not just getting Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman movies again. So.
Yeah, and like I mean they're doing Supergirl and they've announced a few other like kind of interesting characters they're going with. I feel like DC's different from Marvel. Like you needed to start it with Superman. That made sense to start the universe. But I didn't want them to get trapped in the, like you just said, Superman, then Batman, then Wonder Woman, then Aquaman. And then Batman again, and then maybe we'll get like some niche character like Blue Beetle.
Right.
Like no, like throw them in there. Like, dude, Marvel started off with characters nobody knew or cared about. Like I don't care what anyone says. Nobody cared about Iron Man.
Yeah, nobody
Robert
did.
Downey Jr.
Right.
I know we had a cartoon. The cartoon was bad. Nobody cared. Yeah. So it makes sense to go for some of these characters and say, hey, let's throw them out there, see what people think. If we do them right, like Marvel in the beginning stages did some of these characters right, we have franchises.
Yep.
And, yeah. So
that makes sense to me.
And I'll be at the theaters to watch Teen Titans movie.
Hell yeah.
If the first couple movies in the new
Superman,
DCU are good.
If Superman's good, I'm in.
If Superman's good, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Teen Titans will be in like the second slate. Like, once we're like 4, 5, 6 movies in.
Yeah.
If I'm still hooked at that point, then you'll have a fan like I am with Marvel where it doesn't matter. Like, throw freaking Olmec out there. That's a bad example. Olmec's great.
You're like, let me find a bad one.
I don't know.
A Joker movie? Oh, wait, we already got one of those.
Throw the Flash out there again, and I'll be there. Like, if that happens, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see who they get for everybody, too.
Yep. Yeah, me too. I want to see the casting. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, support them. Stuff.
Comic news, everybody. DC Comics annual DC Pride Anthology series is once again coming to comic shops this year, but with a bonus issue, everybody, which is super awesome. I actually had a really cool conversation. Let's just talk about DC Pride for a second. I had a great conversation with at a local game store with a individual who was who also knew Rachel Pollack. I believe that, like, you know, and all the like what that meant to the trans community and stuff like that. Had a great conversation with a person about Rachel Pollack. So I'm like really happy to see this come up in the news, and that DC like understands what, you know, the great person that she was. So anyways, so we have the first DC Pride 2024, kind of like last year. It'll feature stories from creators like Phil Jimenez, Nicole Maines, Jordan Gibson, Al Ewing, so many more. A lot of characters on there. Some we haven't seen before, I believe. I don't know. I don't believe I've ever seen that Supergirl on the right there.
Yeah, the Supergirl and I think that's Green Lantern up top.
Oh, you know what? Is that Steele's daughter, I believe?
Oh, that's right. That is Steele's daughter.
It is Steele's daughter. That's a cool costume they gave her, though.
Who's the Green Lantern on top, though?
Is that a Green Lantern? Oh, I don't know. Or it looks
I think it's a Green Lantern.
It almost looks like Pied Piper.
I think that's probably right.
Because that character's gay, right?
It does feel like at this point we're treading the same characters for the most part. Because if that's Pied Piper, we've definitely done that before. I mean, obviously we keep going back to John Kent. We keep going back to Aquaboy.
Yeah.
This whole like shift of Harley Quinn being a lesbian has been a thing since they did Pride. I know it's happened before, but like, yeah.
I like Aquaboy like flexing those glutes too in the left side.
Oh yeah, he's
doing that booty
he's
pose.
thirst trapping hard over there.
He like someone had a lot of fun doing this cover. It's like, oh, I'm gonna give him all the booty meat.
But I mean, for me, it's what like none of these. Aquaboy I enjoy when he shows up. Like I did like that one John Kent series, and I don't completely hate the character. Just wanted to be a child again. That was so much more fun.
Yeah, more fun with Tomasi.
And but this is for me this is a skip. Honestly, both these are a skip. I'm happy that they exist, and I hope that people enjoy them. But there's nothing here for me.
Of Coagula's DC first trans character, as well as a reprint of Vertigo Visions, The Geek, with art by Michael Allred, an original story by Coagula by writer Joe Corallo, Rachel's longtime friend and collaborator, with art by Rye Hickman. That's awesome. And you know, to have Codpiece on a cover, Chris, is insane. I feel like we need to send our interview of Rachel Pollack to DC and be like, where were you guys? Where have you been?
So while I understand and agree with everything you said earlier about this whole thing, we need to get with DC PR, because what this really is DC Pride, a celebration of Rachel Pollack, aka the first appearance of Codpiece.
Yes, really. Yeah, that's what it really is when we talk about that. Oh my god.
No, I love that when I was reading their press release about it, they go on and on about, you know, Rachel and everything, and then about the character. But what I really liked is that they did, whoever wrote the press release understood like what Rachel had to do in this series, which was to follow fucking Grant Morrison.
Yeah, which was not easy. Yeah.
And it's brought up in detail in their press release. And I was like, yeah, like she deserves credit. Like I'm sure a lot of people dropped off this book because of that. Not because of, I mean, this is prior to like Twitter and everything. We're talking about the early 90s. There probably wasn't a huge like outrage culture, at least as publicly as it is today.
Maybe in some like underground forums.
Yeah, like they got it 2 months later. Like, can you believe it? But I do think a lot of people are just like, well, Grant Morrison's writing it, and this has been great. And it's like, wait, who's this Rachel Pollack person? And I believe the book shortly after was canceled, but I'm glad that they're reprinting this. And I guess that Vertigo Visions book is really hard to find, so that's cool.
That's awesome.
And Joe Corallo apparently has been somebody that's known and worked with Rachel for like a majority of her career. So for him to be the one to do the short story,
that's cool.
Is interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to pick this up just to have Codpiece on a cover.
I might have to pick it up just to put it in with my Doom Patrol collection.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's such a great cover.
Yeah,
I love how they refuse to show the Codpiece.
I mean, they're cowards over at DC. I get it.
And in refusing to show the Codpiece, we all know that there's a Codpiece sticking in the behind of Robot Man right now.
Oh yeah, he's got that
like, where his ass is.
He's got the fist, the punching glove,
the punching
right up his ass right now.
and trying to hide the Codpiece, they made it worse.
That's usually what happens. See, this is what happens when you try to hide the Codpiece. It always comes out worse.
It always comes back to punch you in the ass.
No, I guess my final thoughts, everything like DC and Marvel both do this, not just for Pride, but for like every big month.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting when they do it, and I'm sure those communities love it and enjoy it. But I don't know. I'm not big on these anthologies anymore. Yeah. I'm just kind of losing, unless it has like a really cool twist to it. I'm kind of losing interest in these like character anthologies at the big two.
Yeah, even like the Valentine's Day ones, all the different specials they do. I'm just kind of like, eh. There was that one where it was just like Aquaman anthologies. Like if you just do a character anthologies, that's what I like to read. But like just putting it all around like one type of event for me is kind of like, I know it means a lot to some people, so that's not to poo-poo that at all. But
yeah, like just speaking to our own taste.
Yeah, to our own taste. I would rather just have more stories about that character.
Yeah, when they did the 80th anniversary anthologies for all the characters, like I picked up the Aquaman one. Like
I have it too. It's on my shelf. Really good.
But
I know what you mean.
Those haven't been digging them.
Yep. During the recent South by Southwest Con, Marvel announced its plans for post Krakoa X-Men line, and the titles as well creative teams as the following. Oh wow, crossover cover there too. X-Men by writer Jed McKay and artist Ryan Stegman. Wow, Krakoa is no more, but the X-Men fight on. From their new base in Alaska, the X-Men raise a flag of defiance with Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Temper, who was formerly Oya, Magic, and Juggernaut as they assemble against new foes, battling for the destiny and philosophy of mutant species. Mutant business is their business. Yeah, Jed McKay, solid artist. I'm glad that he got this opportunity. And Stegman's art, fantastic.
Yeah, Jed McKay's become quite a superstar over at Marvel. I mean, he's doing Avengers, and now he's doing X-Men.
Yeah.
The two biggest books.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Stegman's an interesting one because Stegman's one of those where I kind of put in my brain along with Donnie. Yeah. Where if Donnie didn't have the accident, Stegman wouldn't be doing this book right now.
Right. I don't think he would be either. Yeah.
Because they formed that business together, and it was kind of predicated around like Donnie's a superstar. Like we can put out books.
Yeah.
And he did do that. He wrote that book that I really liked, the Schlub.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to come back to Marvel and to do like a marquee book is pretty big. I'm interested in the whole story behind that. If I was to be interested in a X-Men book,
here we go.
Throwing Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman on it is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm not reading X-Men.
Yeah, I'm not going to read X-Men either. But there are some more books coming out that I probably won't check out, but there's quite a few X-Men books. We have Uncanny X-Men by writer Gail Simone, artist David Marquez, Outlaw Heroes. Once again, the X-Men embark on a new mission, making themselves at home in the Big Easy. The X-Men protect a world that hates and fears them. For Rogue, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, Wolverine. Uncanny as ever, the X-Men are back to saving the day mutant style. So Gail Simone's getting a shot at it too. I know there's a huge following for Gail Simone, so that's awesome.
And then David Marquez, great art. I mean,
great art. Yep.
Another superstar team up right there, right?
Yeah, right, for sure. So they're swinging big.
Dude, I'm really interested to check out that like Fall of X thing that they did to see like where the pieces lie for the X-Men, because it seems from all of this they want to go back to that, like, everybody hates the X-Men. Let's go back to the good old days of like
it's
it
like
being an allegory for racism and all that. And I'm
mm-hmm.
sure now they want more of an allegory for like the LGBT stuff or whatever. But I still come back to like, but hating them makes sense right now.
Right.
Like they literally held against the world like, we have the cure for every disease, but fuck you.
Yeah, but sorry, we're not giving it to you.
Yeah. That's it. I'm not a Gail Simone person. I never really cared for her work that much.
Yep.
And the teams, and that's more like the traditional team.
Yeah,
right there.
With a Wolverine and Gambit Rogue. Yep.
Yeah, so it seems like the Uncanny book's going to be like the more traditional team. The straight X-Men book's going to be like the flagship. Let's kind of play around, because we do have Magneto, we do have Magneto, and we do have Cyclops.
We have Juggernaut, which is weird.
Yeah, Juggernaut's jumped on and off the team throughout the years, but and then we got this next book.
Yeah, and then we have Exceptional X-Men by writer Eve L. Ewing and artist Carmen Canero. Mutant Kind's two greatest teachers mold the next generation. Kate Pryde has returned home to Chicago following the war with Orcus. Having stepped away from the world of mutantdom, she is nevertheless called back into action. She crosses paths with a trio of new young mutants, Bronze, Axo, and Melee, who clearly need training and guidance. Kate and Emma Frost think so as well. So that's one we'll see how popular that one is.
This feels to me like, if my history is correct, when New Mutants was created, it was supposed to be a book that introduced New Mutants, like that.
Right.
And then it became its own team because people loved the initial team so much, and it blah, blah, blah. This feels like them trying to do it again.
Yeah.
But like actually sticking to the formula of like, let's bring in these newer characters and like let them grow up and build an audience. That said, less of a superstar team.
Yeah, true.
And I'll be interested how long and what this book is. This feels like one of those books where you could have a rotating cast of creators coming in on and off.
For sure. Like bring them in and out for story arcs and characters.
Yeah. So
and then there's also hints of future titles, including a Phoenix book, X Factor, Storm, Nyx, X-Force, and of course Wolverine. It's coming this summer, everybody. So look at that, all the X-Men books you could want. Wow.
Yeah, hopefully for X fans, it's all good. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, if you're an X-Men fan, good for you.
Well, it's interesting, Mike. Relaunching X-Men. Is there like a movie coming out or something?
Yeah, or like maybe a show. I don't know. It's a good question. We'll have to go to Google and find that out. Oni Press announced that it's reprinting the series Down, Set, Fight for a 10th anniversary deluxe hardcover. For those that don't know, Down, Set, Fight was written by Chad Bowers and Chris Sims, not the football player announcer, and drawn by Scott Kowalczyk. In Down, Set, Fight, fearless Chuck Fairline was a football's fastest rising star, but his career came to a screeching halt when he was expelled from the league after going ham and causing the biggest brawl in the history of sports. Years later, Chuck has found peace as a high school football coach until costume mascots begin attacking him for seemingly no reason. Before long, Chuck's going to discover that he can't run away from the past, but you can punch it square in the face. I never read Down, Set, Fight, but this it sounds like a fun book.
And neither did I, but when I got the press release, I was like, how have I never heard of this book? This sounds awesome.
It sounds awesome. I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, so I'm excited to do it. And I was also like, wait, Chris Sims wrote this? Because being a big football guy, like, you know Chris Sims. And I had to look it up, and it's Chris Sims with one M, not two M's. And I was like, oh, it's not that Chris Sims. That's funny, though, that a Chris Sims wrote a football book.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Yeah. But I'll definitely be reading this when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea about it. Magma Comics is back in the news, and partnering with Ruptura E-Studios to create a new imprint for publishing works of fiction with a Hispanic appeal. Ruptura eStudios was created in 1990s amid the new Mexican comic scene and has worked with different publishing houses throughout its lifespan to help creator and reader journey to new realities. The first comic as part of the new line is Hell's Half Acre from writer Denton J. Tipton and artist Ramon Bunge. Here's the synopsis for it. Life is changing fast. Oh, that's a great cover. In 1904 Nashville, but the sins of the past live free in a place called Hell's Half Acre, where you can find gambling, sex, and most any other debauchery you ever dreamed. None do it better than Miss Marion's, where a mysterious gambler named Britt sets in motion a chain of events that will have lawmen and outlaws alike aiming to put him 6 feet under. Will the woman that Britt scored be his downfall or salvation when hell comes calling? Interesting. Don't care for that cover as much as the others. the other.
Can we talk about this lady's face right now?
Dirt face. What's going on there? And the guy in the front looks like what's his name from Parks and Rec? The guy with the blonde hair.
Oh,
you know the actor I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Okay. At least you know who I'm thinking.
We're gonna go back to the good one.
Yeah. This one looks cool with like the time and the finger cut off. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds interesting enough. I've usually hit or miss on like Western stuff, but
yeah. But that's cool to see other news from other publishers, on the scene. So
yeah, it's once again like I've been trying to reach out to Magma to see if like we can talk to somebody, because I'm like, who the hell are you people and where'd you come from? Because it's out of nowhere. It's just like, like we got this new line and we got like this amazing talent, including Hive Mind coming, and like like you're not just a startup. Like what happened?
What's going on? Yeah, how did they pull this?
That all being said, like I like what they're doing. And I just hope that they don't make the cardinal mistake of like pushing too much all at once, because I think now we're up to 4 titles, and I think that's a solid base for you to sit on for a little while.
Yeah, let's just chill now.
Yeah, like let the books come out, let them breathe, then announce another line, another stack of them, because I think they're all miniseries so far.
Okay.
Yeah, don't try to come in and be fucking Image right away and have like 20 books coming out a month. Like it's not. That's the downfall of these newer publishers.
Right.
That said, the 4 they've announced all look pretty good.
Oh yeah.
And, this one in particular sounds interesting. And like I said, we got an old company that's been working in comics forever, and their whole thing was like, we're trying to hit an Hispanic market with this and bring Hispanic stories to more people. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of good stories in there that I'm not aware of. So
yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and hopefully it all works out. We'll have to talk to some people at Magma.
Magma.
So what we read this week,
laser beams.
Laser beams attached to their head. Some stuff I didn't get to, but some old stuff that you read I want to catch up on. Shazam #9, Wade Lupacino. The Creeper issue is a lot of fun, like you said. Batman 145. The Failsafe Batman was good. It was a good story, but the interesting B story that ties into the New 52 Batman, with the whole with the whole Joker thing.
Yeah.
Where he he does he has those different personalities, and then bam, he shows up at Wayne Manor with the Joker from New 52 that we know, which is kind of interesting. And I think that's the last we'll see of that character in story. I hope.
Which character?
The Joker with the face, like.
Oh, the Joe's Garage Joker.
Yeah, the Joe's Garage Joker. Hopefully, so because that was Scott Snyder's thing of like the death of the family, right? Was when the Joe's Garage Joker shows up at the Wayne family manor.
That was the big story, but that Joker came about because in Detective Comics 1, I forget who, but somebody skinned Joker's face.
Okay.
And then he came back with that. Yeah. But I think his face being skinned was somebody else, but then Snyder and Capullo brought him back as like the Joe's Garage with the fucking stretch face over his.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sinister Sons #2, Tomasi Georgiev or George V, but I believe it's Georgiev. This is a great series, like you said. It's a lot of fun. Tomasi doing a Sons book again. Sinestro Sun takes control of Zod's ship in the last issue. Then they get trapped in this giant like interstellar whale thing. It's a fun issue, and then there's a mysterious encounter with somebody inside the whale that's like an adult that's like, you're not supposed to be here kind of thing. But if I had to, like, they don't show the face, but I would either say it's probably a Time Lord, or Strange. So we'll see. Is that who I'm thinking of with the jetpack?
Adam Strange.
Adam Strange. Yeah. I wanted to say Doctor Strange. Adam Strange. So
that's when you said Strange. That's where my head went, and I'm like, that's Marvel.
Yeah, right. I was like, who's Adam Strange? I caught up on Wesley Dodds Sandman because issue 6 came out. So that's Venditti Rosmo. I thought it was a good ending. They wrap it all up, and then bam, the JSA shows up at his back door, and it's like, okay, well, clearly this book wasn't tying anything together with the JSA. Would be cool to see a Sandman book with the JSA, but I don't think we'll get that because Jeff Johns is the only one that gets to play with the JSA.
Allegedly this week, JSA is coming out.
We'll see. Never been so disappointed in a release schedule before. Outsiders #5, Lanzig, Kelly, carry on the art. There's they end up at this like horror party with Nocturna. We find out, I don't know much about the character Nocturna, but we find out that she has a child that's basically a demon. Nocturna is a vampire within the DC universe. While they're in this like weird party, the drummer like gets some info from a demon about like the space in between, they call it. Like there's a demon that knows like about writings of people. Like they're referring almost like to a multiverse or another universe as like writing and telling stories. So it's kind of like some fourth wall breaking stuff. And then she kills him. So at the end of the issue, they go to split up, like Batwoman and then the drummer and Duke are going to go. It looks like drummer and Duke are going to try to get into this other world. And it's pretty interesting, Chris, because Duke is standing there and sees a reflection, because I think they've seen glimpses of this world. Duke is standing there and sees a reflection of himself. Like he's standing and there's a reflection of him. I don't know if he sees it in the mirror in this building, but it's the Duke Thomas from Dark Knight's Death Metal. So there's definitely going to be some multiverse shit going on.
Who showed up in that one issue where they were in like Batman's safe space or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's crazy. So I'd be interested to see where this book's going to go. Like we're going to, if they're working with death metal shit, that's pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah. I gotta read that still.
Yeah. Action Comics 1063, Jason Aaron Timms. This is the end of the Bizarro story. The normal Joker basically helps Superman pull through this battle in his mind with the Bizarro. And then, of course, the Joker is nowhere to be found after that. So hopefully he won't be returning. And then I'm excited because next issue, Chris, we're tackling Brainiac.
Yeah, I think that's the Tomasi story too. Or not Tomasi, Williamson.
Oh, sick. Okay. Yeah, I'm really liking this Action Comics series. Then I read Suicide Squad Dream Team #1, Maines and Burrows, Countdown to Absolute Power. This felt like a pretty important book, Chris. We get like the reveal of the current Suicide Squad, which I think you would enjoy. So we have Harley, we have Deadeye, who's Waller's nephew, kind of like Deadshot, but he has like telepathic powers as well. Clock King, nice. Dreamer, who's kind of a new introduction, Bizarro, and Bizarro's not as annoying as you would think, so they don't really mess around with that too much. And then Black Alice, who's like a magic user. I don't know if you remember like the whole situation with Gamora, where back at so like Waller is basically like Gamora is like up for grabs. The island, which was from like the last Suicide Squad, I believe, series, where like the dude was like creating his own I can't remember the name of the guy, but he was like creating his own metas on Gamora and like trying to rule the world or some shit. anyways, they're like,
Okay.
Gamora's up for grabs. You know, we need it. We want to get our hands on it before an enemy does. So like Waller uses this new character, Dreamer, to get in there, and Dreamer can transport through people's dreams. And she like doesn't want to like, you know, be part of this, but she kind of gets forced into it. So what she does the first time ever, she brings the whole suicide. Oh, and Harley's on the team. I don't know if I said that, but
yeah, you did.
They bring everybody over in this to get into Gamora, this huge compound. They bring everybody over in this dude's dream, like one of the guards, and she's never brought that many people over. So they're like traveling through the dream. It's a cool sequence. They get out and they realize they killed the guy. Like, so they go, oh, shit, now we don't have a way back. And it's funny because like the guy's like laying there dead and they're like, fuck, what do we do? And Clock King is just like time of death, 6:52. Like he has to announce like all the times, and they're like, and when he goes to speak, they're like, I swear to God, if you say one more time, I'm gonna
Oh, I fucking love Clock King.
Yeah, it's so good. And so there's all these like discussions going on between the team, and Bizarro just flips out and starts like trashing the island because they're like, it's supposed to be a covert mission, and he just takes off and starts like wrecking the place. It's a really good issue so far. I'm interested to see what are Waller's plans when she, you know, takes over Gamora. Is that going to be her new headquarters? But yeah, the Dreamer character is really interesting because then she kind of talks about like, you know, like what her powers are and her like her thoughts and everything. No, it was a really good first issue, and there's some other books I got to get to, but I like that Suicide Squad book, and that's all I had. And then I finished volume 1 of Army versus Darkness, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, Omnibus, and then I'm finishing up volume 9 of Kaiju number 8, which is great. A lot of training, preparing. There's all these kaijus popping up everywhere, so they're almost like testing the limits of the Defense Force, because now we're getting these random appearances, all these different types of kaiju popping up everywhere in this issue. It's really good.
Oh, dude, we didn't talk about how Godzilla won an Oscar.
Oh shit, yeah, Godzilla won an Oscar. Yeah, that amazing movie. That you have to watch. Did you watch it?
No, I'm waiting for some way to watch it at home.
Yeah, I forgot it's not on streaming, but
so I'll start off with the bad because I didn't have that many this week, but I picked up Helen of Wyndhorn, number 1. This is what prompted Mike and I to talk about Tom King at the top.
Yeah.
I told you off air, like this book made me realize that what I'm doing is the literal definition of insanity. Like I keep reading Tom King books being like, I think I'm going to like it. And I just don't like his writing style. So I need to stop. So next time a Tom King book comes up and I'm like, that sounds interesting, Mike, you were to just like slap me through the computer and be like, stop.
Yeah. And we'd be like, don't do it, dude.
The art's okay. I think the art would bug you a little bit. It's got a Jai Lee bend to it. The artist and anatomy is better than Jai Lee's, but like the faces and everything are very like, you could tell this guy was reading a lot of Jai Lee growing up. It's about this girl who's like kind of a wild child. She's given, her father dies and she's left this like amazing mansion with like full staff and all this shit. And like, but she's kind of feral almost. Like, they get to the mansion. Her father pays for this woman to like take care of her, and this woman can't like control her. She's underage, by the way. I think she's like 16, 17 in the book. She's constantly like getting drunk and just passing out.
What the hell?
She keeps seeing something out in the forest, and everybody's like telling her she's crazy until near the end of the book, where we find out that there's like these monsters in the forest. And this is the only part of the book that is interesting, in my opinion. We find out there are these monsters in the forest, and when they're being attacked, like her grandfather comes out of nowhere, and we find out like he's a monster hunter, and that's how they made their fortune.
Interesting.
And it's like this giant werewolf looking monster thing. So like that's interesting, but like the book is written the way Titanic is shot. So it starts off in the present day, and this woman telling a story about the past, and she's the woman that's like hired to take care of this girl. and it's like I said in the top, like it's very overwritten because he tries to play this character of like this older British woman who's telling the story, and she's like very upper class and well educated, so she's got like, it's just, I think he's writing it well for what it is. I just think I don't like the style of writing. That's what it is. Maybe others, I'm sure others are going to disagree, and this is going to be like one of those books that everybody loves at the end of the year, and I'm going to be like, I just don't get it, everybody.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, not everything's for everybody. It's fine.
Yep.
Ultimate Black Panther #2. So we got Wakanda at war with the people in charge of Africa, which is Ra and Khonshu. And basically this whole issue is T'Challa trying to deal with the fact that he's now king, and the fact that he never wanted to be a king under war. But basically the idea of like, too bad, like you got to do it. And he throughout it, like there's these fights with different armies and everything, and then he finally figures out where Ra and Khonshu are, and so he goes there as Black Panther. And when he gets there, there's this entity there that's causing all these storms and lightnings coming everywhere, Mike. And you think it's gonna be Thor coming down, but it's pretty sure it's Storm.
Okay.
So it ends with him meeting Storm, and I really like the issue. Like I said, the Ultimate Universe stuff's been really good, and this one's been really great too. It's a lot of like dealing with becoming the king, and then like you have to make these tough decisions as the king, but he also wants to be Black Panther, and typical Black Panther shit. But it's done well. And then I've got Avengers Twilight #5. What issue is this? 4. Number 4. Literally picks up where last issue left off. Thor comes down. He like saves everybody, takes care of it, and then he ends up joining up with everybody. There's a great sequence where Thor talks about what happened on H-Day and how he kind of disappeared to Asgard because his own insecurities were like, I can't deal with the fact that a bunch of people I knew died, and now all of you keep growing older while I'm like staying young and immortal. So basically the idea of like the immortal god who sees all of his friends die.
Yeah.
And all that. And then we get, so they end up saving Tony, like the head in the jar Tony. And it's kind of funny because they build him like, dude, it's straight out of Futurama. Like, when they have Nixon in the suit.
Yeah, in the suit. Yeah.
It's that, but it's like an Iron Man suit. Yeah.
That's so funny.
And we find out so everybody finds out what Red Skull's doing. Like, he's the guy that's pretending to be Jarvis and controlling Tony's son. And basically, it's the end of the issue is the supervillain laying out his plan, like tells them what they're going to do. And then he creates his own suit where he turns himself back into Red Skull, but he's Red Skull with an Iron Man suit now. Oh, and his plan is to take over.
Nice.
So I'm pretty sure next issue is the big fight.
Sick.
And then I wrote 2 reviews this week, so I'll talk a little bit about them. Man's Best #1. That was a new book from Pornsak Pichetto.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I really liked it. I mean, it's the ship in space that's going to terraform a new planet because climate change destroyed Earth. And our main character is Dr. Winter, and she has these 3 pets, 2 dogs and a cat, who she's like outfitted with robotic suits and everything. And you can tell she's like training them to take care of themselves and fight robots and all this other weird stuff. And then bam, like they land on this hostile planet, and the animals have to fend for themselves and find their friend, Dr. Winters. The art's really cool. I always enjoy like pets as the main characters. Like, that's always fun.
Yeah,
and
it's a fun time.
It's also such a left turn from The Good Asian.
Oh yeah,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, completely whole other genre.
Yeah, this is another book that I think will be, assuming it keeps this trend issue to issue, I can see this being one that like is on top 10s at the end of the year.
Oh, cool. I'll check it out.
So a lot of people should I think people should go check it out. It'll be in stores today as you're listening to this.
Nice.
Another book that'll be in stores today as you're listening to this is the NacelleVerse #0.
Oh yeah.
If you're interested in the NacelleVerse, read this issue. because it really is just a primer. It's the origin story of the Great Garlu, which is probably the least known character in the whole NacelleVerse thing.
Yeah, no idea.
And through his origin story, they go to these different planets, and it's just like, bam, we go to this planet, and Robo Force is there. We go to this planet, obviously Mars, and the biker mice from Mars are there, and so on and so forth, until he lands where he's supposed to, and he can continue his story from there.
Mm-hmm.
It really is just hey, these are the characters, this is what they do, and each one gets its moment throughout the book.
Yeah.
It's well enough done. I don't think it's anything like super revolutionary or extreme.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to blow your mind, but if you are interested in any of these books, like, this is a great primer. Buy this. If it doesn't interest you, then you don't have to read any more. If it does, they got the release schedule coming out. I personally liked it. I will continue reading all the books. And that set, oh man, someone we know worked on this book too. Did I delete it? Vamping for NacelleVerse.
Cell number 0.
NacelleVerse. Yes, there it is. Let's see if it'll load. Oh, Winston Gambro. Gambro did all the designs for the book.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. So
very cool.
That was really cool to see a name that we knew.
Yeah. Old friend of the show.
But Mike, does everything I read this week. So where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
Well, you can find me on social media at Fortress Chris. You can also click on my bio link in the show notes to all my stuff. And you can find the show at Fortress Comics on Twitter, Fortress Comics _ on Twitter, and also at FortressComicNews.com. And if you want to support the show or myself, best way to do it, like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version, 5-star reviews in the podcast version, and patreon.com/FortressComics. For me, it's chriscomicscorner.substack.com. And I should have said this at the top, but I have a story in Travis Gibbs' new anthology book coming out. The preview notification page is up. That's on my bio page. So if you go in there, you'll be able to see it and get notified when that comes out.
Nice.
And
awesome.
Don't even get it from me, dude. Like, Jonathan Hedrick's on that book. Like,
that's hell yeah.
Hedrick, Gibb, Chuck Peño's on that book. Like, I'm on the bottom rung of.
But you're on it. That's awesome.
But yeah, I've been using it at the bar with chicks. Like, dude, I'm in a book with Jonathan Hedrick.
Hell yeah. Amazing.
So check that out. I think that book will be a blast. I got to read a lot of it already, so I'm excited for it.
Nice.
And thank you all for listening this week. See y'all here next week.
See ya.